Welcome to Insights. I'm Eric. Thanks for watching today. We're going to talk about the relationship between gold and Bitcoin, not necessarily in terms of how they're correlated or interrelated to one another, but rather how they move through the evolution of the trade. There's a lot of effort right now to call the bottom in gold and really to either call a top in Bitcoin or to ignore it. But what I'm going to talk about is in terms of the evolution of the trade, the study of the three time frames relative to energy. These two markets are nowhere near in the same position, and I wouldn't even worry about trying to call a bottom in gold unless, first of all, energy changes dramatically. But in reality, even if it does do that, we still have to wait for all the time frames to align, and it's not even close in terms of where Bitcoin is. In order to look at the two setup, we're going to have to look at Bitcoin first, and then we're going to take a look at gold. We can see that the movement of the evolution of the trade has to do with the alignment of the three time frames. This is the daily time frame. We're going to study from 2016 to the 2018 high. And we can see that the green boxes represent boxes of which the daily trend is up. And there's numerous continuous green boxes, but there's also breaks. Inside those breaks, the daily impulse is no longer an upside. In upside direction, it turns down. And we're going to see that during that time, if the weekly and monthly time frames are still up, these represent consolidation periods and ultimately resets within the composite trend. So right now we can see that the current green box is in place, and in the yellow box here we can see it's green, so the trend is up. In the past we had three resets. In the same period from 2016 to 2018, the weekly trend was one continuous box. So there really was only about 3 or 4 resets within the daily trend within Bitcoin during this time period. This was an accelerating time period that never reset the weekly trend. If we look at the monthly trend, which we call the primary trend, it was one solid green box. So the monthly trend never reset either. So what you're looking for is opportunities within that resets that reset the daily and put the green boxes that would be in alignment to all three time frames. So you're looking for a green box here, you're looking for a green box here, and you're looking for a green box here. But we can see the daily alignment is not always in upside alignment, or it's not always up, so there's not always a green box. And when they fall in and out of a green box, highlighted by these circles, they generate resets within the composite trend. So currently we have a yellow box within Bitcoin. It's a relatively young trend. It just reset about 9 days ago. The weekly trend is still a green box. It's still up. And the monthly trend is still a green box and still up. So this is a relatively, as the past reviews I've talked about Bitcoin, this is a relatively early trend. Now, whether or not this generates another, there was a small break right here, which represents a reset about 9 days ago. If you get another break of this green box with another unshaded region, it's going to generate another reset. Usually in strong impulses, there's 3 or 4 resets within an up phase. So far, we've really seen about one. It's a little bit early to get another reset after this, but that's where I'm sitting there going, take it easy, let Bitcoin do its thing, because the three time frames are in agreement. They can fall out of agreement, but they often don't until something gets extended. That something is usually the daily price, and sometimes it's the weekly, but none of that is showing up right now in terms of the three time frames. And you can go past and watch the previous Bitcoin review, and it'll to discuss that in detail. So let's take a look at the gold market and say, well, why is everyone working so hard to pick a bottom? Ultimately, a bottom, when you want to go long gold, you want to go long when the three time frames are in agreement and when they're both shaded green. We have no green box in the daily, we have no green box in the weekly, and we are just starting to flip down in the monthly, or we're losing the green box in the monthly. So they have the exact opposite setup. The way you look at Bitcoin is long. I mean, the way you look at gold is you're looking on the short side of things. You're looking for patience if you're long, because there's no green boxes to be found. Even if this is going to turn, it's going to require energy to turn this, and it's going to take time to generate a green box on the daily, to generate a green box on the weekly, and to generate another green box on the monthly. So comparing these two markets from the standpoint where I don't even really understand why there's such a big focus on calling the bottom in gold, because in terms of the evolution of the trade, it's not even around the corner. It's probably several weeks out, could be several months out. If you want to have a setup that's successful, that has produced the types of returns that Bitcoin and other markets have displayed, you have to wait for that alignment of the composite trend. And that's just not something you're seeing in gold right now. Now, in terms of Bitcoin, yeah, you are seeing it. So instead of being worried about being positioned long in Bitcoin, you probably should be worried about making the transfer over to buy gold. It's not saying that gold is not going to return to upside alignment and into rally phase. It's just not ready to do so, and it requires patience. I know it's easy to say patience and it's hard to follow it, but ultimately the patience game requires an alignment of the three time frames, and that just takes time. It's probably going to take at least until at least another month. I mean, it could be that the prices are not even going to go lower than where they are today, but that month is the time that's required in order to flip these things back up again. So it really comparing the two markets as if, one market is ready to cap out and another market is ready to take over. Well, until that happens, for that to happen, Bitcoin has got to start to break down and gold has got to start to organize itself. Uh, I wouldn't play a game of trying to anticipate that. The only thing you can do is wait for it to happen. Watch the individual gold reviews and Bitcoin reviews. If you're a subscriber, I think you can watch all of them. It'll discuss the markets in specific detail, but I just really wanted to talk about how the evolution of the trade works visually, how the three time frames play with one another and how they interact, and how deep correction goes and what resets look like, and why Bitcoin and the gold market are not similar markets right now. If you have any questions about what we talk about or any interest within the evolution of the trade and you're a non-subscriber, or if you're a subscriber and you want to learn more about it, go up into this link inside your matrix, click it. There's a link within the matrix description that talks about understanding the matrix and the evolution of the trade specifically. Go back to the blog and review that. I'll leave a couple of links underneath this video for you to do that, or you can contact me directly in the blog and ask any questions or leave some comments under the video and we can talk about it more there. But other than that, I would be patient with Bitcoin and I'd be patient with gold, and Bitcoin's a much better setup than gold right now. So thanks for watching the video and enjoy the trading day.